Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The snow is falling in the game, the sun is shining out of the window, and the magpie is casting in your ears right now, coming at you with a live 1 versus 1 battle featuring spawning in the north, spawning in the west. Playing as the Vermac pieces, utilising the Ostropan doctrine. It's going to be Pineapple the Fruit Dude, who was featured on the channel relatively recently. So, yeah, we get another fine opportunity to witness this man's highly skilled play on the map. Lagoda Karelia here today, spawning in the east, playing as the United States forces, utilising the heavy cav commander. It's going to be Night Raven. So the table is made, the stage is set, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a good game. Hello everyone. It's what are we on now? It's like Monday, Tuesday. It's Tuesday, the 21st of January. I hope everyone's having a good 2020. I'm having a pretty good 2020. It's been incredibly busy. This is just a busy time of year for me at work. A lot going on there. But still managing to find some castable windows. Still managing to make some progress there, so that's nice. Speaking of making progress, looks like these guys are going to be building some tank traps here in the early stages, looking to secure some heavy cover. Oh, this is nice. I love it when people use all of the little tools and tricks that all of the kind of core infantry units have available to them. Definitely... look at this. So, I mean, obviously, this is not rocket science, but for those of you who have not seen this kind of a setup before, he's put down a chunk of heavy cover for his dudes to use with barbed wire so their opponents can't get there. Super cool. Just one of those things that we don't, well, personally, I don't always bother to do, but I really should always bother to do. It's just always going to help you out. So, we've already got the Struppens, cheap, numerous, 6-man, durable infantry squads. A rare luxury and pretty much the perfect thing, because they are just this type of unit is exactly what Vermac forces lack, generally speaking. So having access to the Ostropan squad, very much a transformational feature provided by this commander, and definitely makes this one of the stronger commanders in my eyes for sure. And the thing is, despite being like technically inferior infantry, and for sure at this range they ought to lose to riflemen, despite being technically inferior infantry, you do get 6 rifles, so their damage is actually not too bad. And because they're quite cheap, they actually vet up quite quickly as well. And certainly in these early stages of the game, all you really care about is having some guys in between the enemy guys and your MG42. And Ostrapans, well, they do count as guys, so they fulfill that role. Cheaper, and I would say in many ways better than Grenadiers. Wow, actually, they're getting a nice pin on these riflemen. That will force them back. Taking a nice engage there. You see from the minimap that the American forces are doing what American forces tend to do in the early stages of the game, which is dominate the map. Looking to establish double fuel here momentarily is Night Raven, and that will stand them in good stead as this game gets underway. So yeah, kind of on Pineapple right now to get out on the map in a significant way. 2 squads Grenadiers, 1 MG42, 1 Ostropan have been the purchases so far for our Vermac player. So not relying exclusively on Ostropan, as we often see from Ostropan commander picking players, I think is how I need to phrase that sentence. So it looks like Lieutenant Tech is going to be the tech of choice here for Night Raven. So far so standard really from the American player. I mean, heavy cav is about as standard as it gets from US players. This probably the most powerful commander just in a vacuum that the American forces can muster, and I feel like there's possibly an argument to be made that it might be the least skill intensive, insofar as these abilities are just generically good, with the exception of combined arms, which the jury for me is still out on, because despite being very powerful, it does cost a stack of munitions. You know, you can get rocket runs, you can get airborne rocket runs for like less than this. It's very expensive, and I've yet to see it actually. I've yet to actually notice it changing the outcome of a battle. So for an ability that expensive, I'm still a skeptic about that one. I mean, people have told me it's very powerful, and it does produce very powerful effects. And for that amount of munitions, I'm convinced it has to. I just personally have yet to see those effects like have any meaningful impact in battle. But apart from that one, these other abilities just are individually quite strong. And I mean, I'm not trying to sort of put down anyone who uses the heavy cav company, but I just think that they're slightly less skill intensive than, for example, say, getting the most out of the airborne company commander or something. I mean, mines are really easy to use. It's a very basic skill that's not very micro intensive. You just really need to remember to use it and be cunning with it. I suppose the skill is in where you put the mines, when and how. But I mean, mines are just a thing that everyone knows how to use. Smoke barrage, again, not especially skill intensive. You can pull off some really spectacular stunts with it, but it's just like, you know, you don't need to be thinking too far ahead. You just need to remember that you've got it and have a good knowledge of how and when to use it. Rangers are just a strong infantry unit that you can bring in to bolster your roster. A couple of different choices on how to use them, but I mean, again, they're just, I would say, not super skill intensive to use. And the Pershing is, it's actually probably the most skill intensive part of this whole package, I would say. Keeping a Pershing alive is quite fun, actually, because the Pershing is a tank with strong pros and sort of strong strengths and bad weaknesses. So an American player who can keep a Pershing alive, particularly on a table which has a Tiger tank or an Axis heavy on it, that is a real skill. So yeah, I think that's probably where the most skill intensive or like skill dependent part of this commander comes in. But even then, of all of the things that a commander asks you to do, calling in and microing a heavy tank is not the most burdensome, let's put it that way. Anyway, Panzer Grenadiers being added into the roster. Flammenwerfer has completed here for Pineapple the Fruit Dude, who is diversifying their forces nicely. I think I'd like to see a second MG42 in the next sort of minute or so. That would be really nice for me. If I crack the tack, you can see Axis forces actually being pretty prolific out on the map. I would say doing better than what we sort of would expect to see against USF at this point in the game. Able to chew up quite a lot of ground and contest for the fuel points is really nice, whilst actually being ahead in the scoreline is pretty damn rare. A nice luxury there for Pineapple the Fruit Dude. And I wonder if we're going to see a strange sort of, I don't know, subversion of the typical dynamic that we see between Wehrmacht and US, insofar as actually, perhaps based on this commander, the Wehrmacht forces are going to be a bit stronger than usual in the early and mid stages of the game. And because of the Pershing, with no sort of Axis heavy to counter it, perhaps the American forces are going to be a bit stronger than we're used to seeing in the late stages of this game, should the game run that far. So, potentially an interesting dynamic to be set up here between these two commanders. Boom, nice grenade comes through here. That's a bundle grenade off of the Panzer Grenadiers. Actually not killing any models, just damaging the squad. That'll force a fallback on the captain, so we do have additional tech for the American player manifesting here. Weapon rack research has finished. So we've got, oh, hang on, no, I take it back. Of course, the captain just has the option to buy a BAR, doesn't he? So actually, no. Weapon rack research is on the way now. That'll be finishing in the next minute. So, yeah, definitely an interest in being able to put weapons onto these incredibly powerful American squads, and that'll be really nice when they get there. You know what? For someone who's picked the Osterman Doctrine and so early, using a really diverse sort of force roster here is Pineapple the Fruit Dude. I mean, we are used to seeing when Ostrapen get picked, we usually see at least 3 squads of Ostrapen come out of the gates. But this is just a single Ostrapen squad right now, so interesting stuff there. Artillery Field Officer, actually, another interesting choice afforded by this commander. Pineapple the Fruit Dude now stacking a bit of manpower, possibly wants to make sure he has an insurance policy against a potential Stuart, so leaving pack manpower floating, I suppose. But this is a lot of manpower. I think you can probably go ahead and choose an MG42 here and still have the sort of safety reserve to choose a pack if you need one. So I guess what I'm saying is I would really like to see a second MG42 come onto the roster here for Pineapple the Fruit Dude. Speaking of machine guns, looks like Night Raven will be adding in a 50 caliber machine gun, so that's going to be something. We've got a supply drop coming in. Oh, this is an ability which I am not super au fait with. Oh, so this is what the manpower is being saved for. This gives you both a pack gun and an MG42, I believe. Yeah, there's the MG. Right, okay. Well, that's absolutely great. He gets both of those two things that I was saying he would probably need. Awesome. That's just great. Cool. I totally forgot that Ostrakin gets this this ability. Great. And so early. Wow, so at 4 command points you actually have like 4 of your 5 abilities unlocked with the Ostrakin Doctrine. Only railway artillery still to get. Huh. So we've got mixed fighting going on across the front at the moment. American forces in decent positions in mid. Just looks like typical scuffling over the victory and fuel points. Neither player particularly getting the upper hand. The first ticket finally gets bled off of the Axis scoreline just now. So a nice ticket lead here for Pineapple the Fruit Dude. And if he can extend that, then we are really going to see the reversal of roles compared to what we're used to seeing in this matchup, where it may well be the American player who's forced into sort of desperate hold mode with a heavy tank and a superior force, and it may well be the Axis player who will be ahead in the scoreline and desperately trying to deny American access to the victory points. So, yeah, interesting stuff. LMG-42 going to be finishing up on some of these grenadiers now. Neither of these players making any big blunders or getting anything particularly wrong with their micro or anything. We've not seen any massive mistakes or any unforced squad wipes or anything like that, so that's really good. Hang on a second. What? Whoa. Is cold tech turned on? No, cold tech isn't turned on. Okay, sorry. For a second there, I was like, wait a second. Whoa, these Panzer Grenadiers, sorry, getting turbo low. They are going to fall back. BARs, no joke. American forces getting awfully warm up here in the north. Is burning a fuel point really a good idea? Well, apparently it's okay. Oh, these rear Esh going to scrape away intact. MG-42 having to reload at an inopportune moment, gets flanked by some riflemen. BAR on that unit. This needs to be a fallback. Oh, this could be a stolen MG-42 here. No, the fallback comes down in a timely manner. So this MG ought to be able to exfiltrate safely. Yep, nicely done. Oof, a worrying moment there. And it looks like just control of the midline of the map beginning to fade now for the Axis player. Most of their units right now reinforcing, rearming, or heading back to base to do so. So American forces are going to be able to secure the midline of the map here. Double fuel is flowing for Night Raven, plus 30 over plus 13, so quite the fuel differential opening up there. That's the pack gun going to reveal itself here. He probably didn't mean to do that. It just wasn't set to prioritize vehicles and was just there. So it took a shot at some riflemen. Slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. Major Tech has now finished the American player, so access to the entire of the tech tree, although you have to imagine we're just going to see hold on for Pershing fuel and grab Pershing. That is normally the way with heavy cav. I would be amazed if we saw a fuel choice before then. Speaking of tech, let's just quickly have a check here. What's the situation? Battle Phase 2 now just finishing for Pineapple the Fruit Dude. And based on the fact that this is an Ostrophen opening, Ostrophen Commander, I mean, I feel like we probably are going to see a support armor corps. Panzer IVs, Stugs, Oswins all go really well with Ostrophen support, and this is just an infantry. This is just a really nice roster here in the top left, which would benefit from any support armor corps choice. I feel like you do need a certain amount of sort of future-proofing against your opponent's armor choices, though, so I think Stug or Panzer IV has to be the favourite there. So we'll see. There are no Pioneers back at base just now, but keep an eye out for that support armor corps. I would be amazed if Pineapple opts to delay teching and go for Battle Phase 3. Or rather, I should say delay building units and like continue to tech to Battle Phase 3. It's an MG-34 that you get with this ability. Oh, cool. Ah, okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, it does seem that Pineapple the Fruit Dude lost their Pioneers over that last phase of play. Ah, a touch awkward. Gonna have to replace the Pioneers there. Oh well, Flammenwerfer will have been lost on them as well, so not the cheapest loss, but not far off either. Alright, so the Pioneers are here, and I imagine they look like they're running in to build a support armor corps. Yep, okay, great. So, support armor corps it will be, and by the time that building finishes, assuming nothing goes super wrong out on the map, there ought to be fuel for a Stug, close to Ostwin money, and perhaps a little bit of saving needed to get to a Panzer IV, all of which would be fine choices, but I think I like Panzer IV or Stug the best, particularly because Night Raven, although Pineapple cannot know this, but Night Raven is going for a Sherman. Increasingly, we do seem to be seeing that Pershing or Heavy Cav Commander players are going for a Pershing, are going for a Sherman before they go for the Pershing. Wow, the sh sound that is present in both Sherman and Pershing really catches me out. It's like I've noticed it's just a common error I make as I call Pershings Shermans and I call Shermans Pershings because they both got the sh sound in. It really kind of puts me off somehow. But anyway, yeah, so a Sherman will be here on the front. That is going to be super nasty. The 50 cal Pintle mount is going to be finishing up in a timely manner on that one. So this one definitely going to be the Kingmaker on the field here, and really only up against a pack gun. I mean, yeah, it could get Fausted. You know, things can go wrong for this Sherman, but there is not very much anti-tank or hard AT in this roster. Oh no, looks like these Pioneers are going to get wiped out again, so that's a real problem. The Ostrophen have also gone down somewhere as well. So some pretty brutal fighting going on now. Oh, you can't be losing additional squads. Things are beginning to get a little bit fraught now for Pineapple the Fruit Dude. Sherman here going to make its presence felt. The Pat Gun has it nicely in arc. So actually, wow, takes a couple of penetrating hits. Not the start to life that any Sherman wants. Did I just call it a Pershing again earlier? Anyway, not the start to life that any Sherman wants. So at least something going Pineapple's way, but... Okay, finally, actually, he's going to get a wipe. Nice bundle grenade comes down off of the Panzer Grenadiers. There's a 50 cal up for grabs there, and that would be lovely. Yeah, it would be a third MG, but I don't think there's a problem with that right now. So hopefully these Pioneers are going to be tasked with recovering that machine gun here. Oh, I don't know, actually. There's some rear Ash who might have something to say about that. Yeah, they're going to grab that 50 cal first. Oh, that's actually problems, because it has the Pioneers straight in arc. Oh, no, they freeze. Okay, there we go. The 50 cal comes, gets a fallback straight away. Ooh, okay, so right now, Pineapple in a difficult way. American forces have double fuel, nearly have a triple cap. Basically, there's just one resource point connected for the Axis forces. So this is dire times right now. This is, like, really, really bad. Night Raven doing everything they need to. So yeah, it's really on Pineapple to break this lock. That's got to be the top priority. And the fuel is just coming in so agonizingly slowly. If Pineapple was able to have maintained some map presence, then there probably would already be Panzer IV on the field now. As it is, the fuel is coming in agonizingly slowly as we creep up to the, what is it, 125 that we need for a Panzer? 124. Sorry, 120 for a Panzer IV. So, oh, this is just an agonizing wait. It's going to be like, oh, dearie me. Whoa, that's a good bundle grenade going there. I wonder if he's going to take it. Yep. Okay, these Panzer Grenadiers need to get out of here. And they will. Nice waiting behind this line of sight blocker here by the American forces. That was pretty nice. Now they're going to get the drop on these Grenadiers. Probably the captain wants to come on in here as well. And he will. So, yeah, just bullying the Axis forces around as American infantry is wont to do. Night Raven here just being super savvy with the infantry micro and force allocation, deciding which squads to send where. It just seems like there are the perfect amount of American forces pretty much everywhere on the map to defeat the Axis forces that are in the area. So this is looking really nasty for Pineapple, who now does have Panzer fuel. So you have to assume that we're going to see a Panzer IV come onto the queue here momentarily. But I feel like, in a way, if you do go for that Panzer IV, you really are just being set up to fail, aren't you? Because your opponent has had double fuel and just significantly better fuel income for so long now that right when your Panzer IV comes out, they're going to have a Pershing rolling onto the field. And, I mean, Panzer IV's, a zero-star vet Panzer IV is going to have a pretty miserable existence trying to exist on a battlefield where there's already a Pershing out. So, things looking pretty dire here for Pineapple. But, I mean, game-ending damage has not been inflicted. Pineapple still somehow leading by 25-24 tickets on the scoreline. The army here is still intact. The Panzer IV is going to be the choice, so alright. This is going to be a very fraught sort of next 10 minutes, I feel like, for Pineapple, because we're forced into a position where we're clearly the underdog, we're clearly on the defense for the Wehrmacht forces here. And there's definitely going to be oh no, we can't be losing this squad. There's definitely going to be a dynamic developing here where it's going to be a Panzer IV pretty much standing alone in the armor battle against a Sherman and a Pershing. And, you know, field control still heavily in the American favor. Game-ending damage has not been inflicted, but this looks pretty damn bad right now for Pineapple. Let's put it that way. As I pour myself a cup of tea. This Tuesday's cast is brought to you by Jasmine Silver Needle Tea. Oh, and that's a delicious brew.
A capture point is under attack.
Alright, Panzer IV coming out here. There is an American AT gun. It is presently deployed in mid, so not too far away from this Panzer IV. No munitions right now for the Pintelmat MG42, which is just a touch awkward, but these things happen. Whoa, gotta be careful, man. There could, of course, be rifleman mines out there, so there are indeed M5 mines dotted around. I mean, I've just seen those ones. Can't actually see any others right now, but that's a pretty good spot for them. As you can see, this Panzer IV already kind of in the area where those mines are. No metal detector here. Oh, sorry, I take it back. There is a metal detector for the Axis forces. Okay, so in with a shot of spotting and defusing those mines is Pineapple. Sherman here just going to be policing the front, preventing Axis forces from securing any fuel, any additional income whatsoever. Triple cap right now established. Axis boots in the north trying to do something about that. So Pineapple here just trying to do the minimum that they can to stay in this game, which, okay, here comes the Pershing, which is usually maintain control over 1 VP and a fuel point. If you can do that, you're definitely in with a hope. Pershing here tracking this Panzer IV very nicely, breaks the gun on the Panzer IV, gets the drop on the pack gun. A lucky miss there for the Axis player. Remember, the Pershing can just insta-give infantry squads. We see it so often. Luckily, the pack gun crew here are actually quite spread out, but wow, another hit going to hoon on home here. And, oh dear me, it looks like Pineapple in danger of being broken here. Now without the pack gun, what can there be to face off against these brutal allied tanks? Another supply drop comes in, so there's going to be a new pack gun way back in base here. These hemorrhaging squads, keep an eye on the top left here. Another Grenadier squad goes down, desperately trying to reman the pack gun, and that will be that. Night Raven here, delivering an absolutely crushing, super decisive... What is going on here? Delivering a super decisive... That rifleman is being hit in a very unfortunate place. Oh no! That poor guy. I feel like this right here is kind of a metaphor for this game. Just Pineapple the Fruit Dude standing strong, but getting hit in very painful locations. Just... It seemed like Night Raven was just never actually in jeopardy this game. You know what, actually, I'm assuming that that round is going into the Rifleman. It could be that the Rifleman is, like, deploying some hyper-powerful, like, Dragon Ball Z beam from parts of his anatomy. That's just very interesting. Hadouken! Right, well, there we go. Yeah, I don't really know what I can say about that game, to be honest. Pineapple just... I like the commander pick, I liked the force roster, but just not getting the better hand of those early engagements. And it's very easy in Company of Heroes 2, especially when you're playing Wehrmacht against US, for an early lead to snowball out of control. Once your opponent controls the midline of the map, it can be very hard to come back because they have the fuel they need to get their units out faster, and you don't. So, I mean, yeah, we saw, unfortunately, that world which I sort of mentioned where a Panzer IV comes onto the field just in time to be batted aside by a Pershing, which has support of a Sherman. That's the world that we saw here, and the wheels like totally fell off the bus. Despite having a pack gun and a Panzer IV, there was just no meaningful anti-armor taken in that. No meaningful anti-armor output there for Pineapple in the last stages of that fight. The Pershing was never threatened, and I mean, what can you do when you're just fighting with sort of Wehrmacht stuff against this kind of super intimidating Allied roster? Look at this, BARs toting, veterancy shining. Just American forces doing what they do best. So absolutely brutal game there. We're going to hop on into the live game lobby again and see if we can catch another one here. As I take a sip on my tea. God damn, that's some tasty stuff. Oh. Oh. All right. So we've got top-rated game appears to be between Ray and Desmond on Crossroads. That would be OKW against Soviet forces. So a nice change of pace. Looks like Night Raven is also back out on the ladder here. This time repping Soviets on Faymanville approach. Well, I'm actually tempted, in the interests of continuity, to follow up with this game. Oh, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. I normally have a coin or a dice within arm's reach. Ah, there we go. Okay, so odds we're gonna watch the Crossroads game. Evens we're gonna watch the Faymanville approach game. Here we go. Evens. So we are gonna watch the Faymanville approach game. All right, a nice sense of well, I guess. Wow. Night Raven really busting skulls out on the ladder by the sounds of it. So okay, apparently that game was already over. I mean, perhaps Night Raven just already steamrolled another poor Axis player into the dirt whilst I was rolling that dice. So, okay, looks like we're going to be watching a game here on Crossroads between Ray. Well, you know what, I'll wait for it to load in, and then I'll do some player introductions. spawning in the south. Playing as the Overcommand West forces. It is Ray. And spawning in the north. Playing as the Soviet forces. It is Desman. Looks like we're going to have a Kubel first opening here out of Ray. I wonder if that's an adaptation to this very small map. Commander-wise, looks like Ray packing the Scavenge or Salvage Doctrine here. The Grand Offensive Doctrine. And the Overwatch Doctrine. So 3 interesting commanders there, all of which are absolutely fine. I mean, it's hard to say just off the bat what you think that they're going to pick, but this as a map is actually a fine map for any of these commanders, so yeah. I feel like it's going to be one of the first 2, though. Overwatch is just a little bit, just a power level below these others, if you ask me. And then Desman is running with, what is that, NKVD guy? No, it's Shock Rifle Frontline guy. God damn it. And then we've got, okay, this guy over here, that's the Stalin's Hammer commander, isn't it? The you know, the huge, what do you call that giant Soviet artillery piece? This is the For Mother Russia commander, isn't it? Counterattack tactics. Yeah, so he gets the B4. That's it. The For Mother Russia, the B4 howitzer. So actually, this is an insanely good map for the B4 because it's so small. We have actually seen on the channel before the B4 howitzer dominate on this map. You can build them like just around here, or you know, you can even build them here, but if you build them here, then you can use direct fire mode to cover against enemy armor, so from coming into your half of the map, which is like especially brutal. And the B4's range, you can just like lob shells into pretty much anywhere meaningful, just as long as you build them on the map, so that's pretty good. And then this middle guy, that's Forward Structure HQ guy, who is Urban Defense Tactics. That's the name. There we go. Yeah, this is probably a fine commander for the map as well, actually. The M42 is going to be useful, the shock troops are going to be useful, the KV2 is going to be useful, Forward HQ could be useful, I guess. It's a bit small of a map for that, but... so, yeah, I could see any of these commanders being picked, although I sort of think that Counterattack Tactics is probably going to be the winner here. I really hope that we see Counterattack Tactics, and I genuinely want to see a KV1, because I haven't seen a KV1 since I came back to casting a few months ago, and I actually just don't know what these units look like these days. Are they good? Are they bad? I just haven't seen what the community balance team has done with them. So I actually hear that they are not too bad, which would be a first because they have traditionally been terrible. So, anyway, so we got double Volks. So it was Kubel into double Volks, early Kettenwerfer here in response to the fact that we have a Special Rifle Command opening here. Special Rifle Command going to destroy, oh rather I should say, the M3A1 scout car going to destroy the Kubelwagen. That is just how the sort of, what do you call it? The natural order of things. In the wild, the M3A1 is the natural predator to the Kubelwagen. M3A1s in the wild keep Kubel populations in check and prevent Kubel populations from just sort of spiraling out of control and devastating the grasslands of Western Europe. So a key part of maintaining the European ecosystem actually is the M3A1 light scout car. David Attenborough himself did actually work in the wild in the late 60s, I believe. With he infiltrated a wild group of M3A1 scout cars, and they accepted him as one of their own. And yeah, fascinating documentary. You can probably find that on YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, Special Rifle Command opening. So I guess yeah. So the engineers already have a flamethrower. We're gonna see a clown car here, and I am a little partial to a bit of clown car. It's pretty much my go-to Soviet build at the moment, and it's very fun. I like it. Penal Battalion, of course, going to be coming out onto the field because we have that Special Rifle Command. So these guys are pretty pokey. They've got the SVD rifles. They output damage nicely. They have the demo charge. You can upgrade them with PTRS. So just a nice core infantry squad to have. Soviets, I think Soviets are my favourite faction now. I think it's safe to say I am at peace with the fact that I love the Soviet faction, and the reason being is with Soviets you have far more control over your composition. You can have radically different compositions even before you consider your commander picks, and even then there are transformational commanders. Wow, that was a nice Kettenwerfer shot. Jeez, that was value. So that killed the scout car, the engineers, and the Flammenwerfer. That's a lot of money burning right there in the middle of the field. So, okay. Right, Kettenwerfer is the appropriate counter to clown cars. Oh, man. That did not go well for Desman. So Desman, wow, is going to pick the urban defense tactics. Okay. Alright, so urban defense, are we sure about this? Okay. So it has access to the shock troops, and they are going to start coming out right now. That's useful. Of course, they have body armor, PPSHs, cooked hand grenades, and smoke. So they're going to be actually pretty much the kingmaker on the field here for a minute or two. They can basically run up to anything in this Axis roster and bully it back. So that's quite nice. Nicely actually destroying the wreckage there. Very cool. Using the PTRS to destroy the wreckage, thereby preventing his Axis opponent from scavenging any fuel out of it. That is a really worthwhile thing to be doing. And now, I mean, Desman got off to an unfortunate start, but we're still in the early enough stages of this game. I mean, he lost that scout car at the sort of sub 5 minute mark, I want to say. And okay, that's a bitter loss. Anytime you lose units at the sub 5 minute mark, you're gonna have a difficult game. But his manpower income is still decent enough that the Soviet war machine can recover from this. And already we see the roster sort of swelling up to an approximately equal size to his Axis opponent. So that's kind of okay. 2 squads conscripts, 1 squad penals, with the shock troops now out. I'm gonna say that now I think it's actually appropriate to build the support weapon Campanile, because I feel like you're gonna want Maxims in this game, and I feel like, having said that though, I mean, to some extent the Zis gun and the M42 light AT gun do overlap. It's just, I hate to see Allied players, or I hate to see Soviet players just rely on the M42 alone. It's fine early on, and it does do okay against medium and even occasionally heavy tanks, but it's not consistent against the heavy tanks for sure. And even against mediums it can struggle. So it's a fine unit, but I think it can be a bit of a trap. I think sometimes you see Soviet players not get a support weapon Campanile and just bring in like 3, 4, 5 M42 AT guns, and it just doesn't do the job. So, yeah, we're going to see. So there's going to be a Panzer II Lukes. Obviously, that opens the door for Desman to counter that Panzer II with an M42, and the M42 will do that job very well. So, to a certain extent, this Panzer II is kind of playing into the hands of Desman here. Shock troops have been seen by Ray. So, I believe Ray, if they were paying attention, should know that it's urban defense, which means that they should know that the M42 is an option. So hopefully this Panzer II is not going to overextend into an M42 or anything like that. Tank buster grenades are actually not yet finished for the Soviet player, so they need to be clicked sooner rather than later. Panzer II here is going to make its presence felt, and I reckon as soon as it does, we should see those tank buster grenades come onto the queue, or he may go for M42 and then tank buster grenades. We'll see. Oh, shock troops are just the optimal target. Storm Pioneers getting harassed pretty badly here, but actually just going to be fine. Those shock troops unable to find any super meaningful hits onto the retreating Axis squad there. So, okay, Tank Cavalry Battalion Command has finished. Oh, are we just going to go for a T-70 to help deal with the Panzer II? That also makes just fine sense, that's alright. So I guess, yeah, it's going to be a T-70 here. That'll do the job. Okay, so definitely still the underdog here is Desman, but holding a decent amount of map, not falling too far behind in the scoreline. About 45 tickets in it, right? Sorry, that is 40 tickets. 46 tickets behind. Yeah.
Supply sector under attack.
T-70 here is going to help him deal with the Panzer II. So, what's going to be the next choice then after the T-70? Here comes the T-70. Some engineers putting down mines here, but they are going to be interrupted. Explode his fuel tank! 9! Alright, T-70 here, going to make its presence felt immediately. These folks. They're probably going to get a Faust off. Desman. Oh no. Well, Desman here just not paying attention. allows his T-70 to get Fausted by just not retreating it early enough. Is he going to let it get double Fausted? Is he doing this on purpose just to like expend munitions? It seems very risky. Because the Panzer II Loops will happily try and take on this stricken T-70. Oh no. Oh no. How do you just let your T-70 get double Fausted? Like, on an open field? Alright, the PTRS is going to make its way over here, but is it too late? He needs that PTRS. Okay, he takes the trade. So, okay, the game isn't over right now, but that's unfortunate to say the least. Able to salvage a trade out of that. I don't know. I don't know. Well, on the plus side, I mean, as of right now, Desman does have the superior fuel income, and going to be going for a marksman squad. Oof, my head is spinning. I guess that's fine? I think that's actually quite good, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, marksman squads are high variance. They're a little bit like mortar squads, but way more high variance. But the variance isn't because they roll misses or hits. The variance is because sometimes they just die. Sometimes your sniper model just gets hit, and that is 360 manpower you're never getting back. So they are high variance. Sometimes they can go on to kill, you know, 40, 50 infantry, but they're just so fragile. So this is a high-risk line then for Desman. Not sure what I make of this marksman, but we're going to see. Here comes the scout sniper. And so... Oh no, not a shit grenade. So Schwerpanzer HQ going to be coming down onto the field in a very safe location just now. Axis forces about to secure double fuel. So, yep, looking to pull yet further ahead here is Ray. Scout Marksman has busted an Axis skull. It was a Storm Pioneer, so Ray will be aware that they are facing this unit now. Okay, this is going to be really tough. You can just feel the vice beginning to close now. Ray just gradually pushing Soviet forces back to the doorstep of their base. MG34 now in the roster, which is a really nice adaptation. There's no counter in the Soviet roster for this MG34. So this is going to be able to control large swathes of the map and keep the Soviet player back in their base. Obersoldaten going to be the pick out of the Schwerpanzer HQ, and this makes sense. Slightly awkward to pick Obersoldaten when you know your opponent has a scout sniper, but Obersoldaten are just really, really good, and to be honest, they have a pretty damn good chance of catching, if they ever catch that scout sniper out of position, just killing it instantly. There are some mines here that's worth pointing out. Scout sniper here going to be taking a little bit of extra fire from these Volks, who are going to fall back just now. And yeah, this is definitely a Soviet player in jeopardy. This is a Soviet player who is playing from behind. This is going to be really difficult moving forwards here. Actually, you know what I was saying? That there was no counter for the MG34. Of course I forgot that the Scout Sniper is a really good counter to MG teams. So there is of course the Scout Sniper. My bad. Forgot about that. Shock troops here slowly vetting up. But I just feel like the Soviet army, it needs a little bit more diversity. It's just, I mean, I appreciate that the Soviet player has lost quite a few units here, so you can't have everything. But oh wow, actually the shock troops get up on top of the Obersoldaten and Scout Sniper in support here, who's already knocked off one of them. Oh yikes! MG34 finishes here, but those Obersoldaten have to turn tail and run. Feeding a nice amount of veterancy onto the shock troops is good there. Also going to catch out this Kettenwerfer, that one will be forced back. There's an MG34 on the fallback here, but there shouldn't be a squad wipe going there. I believe, is it 2 stars of veterancy? Increases weapon control and then weapon accuracy is... Whoa, okay, now we see the Schwerpanzer HQ. Probably best be running now, boys. Smoke comes down, very interesting. Are we seeing a demo charge come on? Wow, it's going to demo charge the Schwerpanzer HQ, I like it. Sweet, why not? Okay, it's going to start firing now. You probably have to run. Oh, he's going to come in for the double demo. Okay, we're actually trying to detect. Oh, wow, I love the play here. This is so ballsy. Your pants, they have to run! Get him out of here! Oh, god damn, this squad is so low. What are we doing here? Run! Oh, no, he's going to pay the price for it, though. Alright, he got the double satchel charge in there. How did those penals get out of there? And now he's going for the Su-76 to complete the siege on this position. Actually, I really like this. This is a super left field line and not one that would occur to most players, myself included, I think. But going in here for the double demo charge forces these Storm Pioneers to repair, which is mildly annoying. And then you have the Su-76. I mean, the trouble is I just think that most of this damage is going to be undone by the time the Su-76 gets here. And this position is just, like, by nature very hard to assault because it's got a huge flat cannon on the roof. So if you have to try and access this position for a second time, I mean, I guess you just use the smoke grenade double demo charge Su-76 barrage. I mean, I guess that'll do it. So if it worked once, it can work again, but your opponent will be expecting it this time. You don't just waste a smoke grenade and 2 demo charges without planning to come back and finish the job, I think. So, oh, frag grenade, gonna catch those Volks Grenadiers out. Alright, so here come the shock troops. Penal Battalion coming back out. A bit awkward that they didn't reinforce to 6. Su-76 trolleying out onto the field. The Panzer IV is on the queue now. Kettenwerfer here gets caught out in the open. Oh no, the Su-76 is just going to eat a load of fire here. This is not good. Where's he going? Oh no, this Su-76 is kind of cornered by... Oh god. You just lose this Su-76 then. Oh god. Alright, he's going to start taking some shots into the Schwerpanzer HQ. The smoke isn't set up though, so the infantry just will fail here. Oh no. Yikes. Oh no, the flat cannon actually decides to track the Su-76. That is a mistake. Epic stun grenade, just ridiculous stun grenade comes down. Demo charge 1 goes off. Now we just need demo charge 2 and he's probably got this. Where's the demo charge? Where's the demo charge? There it is. Alright, that should do it. Wow. Insane. But you have to ask yourself if that was really worth it. Because we traded a penal battalion squad, who did sadly get wiped out there, and 4 demo charges, and a smoke grenade, and an Su-76, and an Su-76 barrage for the Schwerpanzer HQ with Panzer Authority authorization upgrade. And then, after the dust settles, we're left with these forces in the top left against these forces in the top right. So, I actually think that that was pretty much fine for Ray there, to be honest, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so... yeah, I feel like that was a really good idea by Desman. The problem was trying to execute it in 2 stages. Because in the first wave, you actually didn't have enough force. There were only 2 available satchel grenades in that first wave. And even though they both hit, it was actually not enough. Yeah, let's see, the Axis player just has just plenty of resources to replace this. Pardon me. So yeah, as I was saying, the first wave actually I don't think could not have destroyed the Schwerpanzer HQ, and the second wave contained enough force to destroy the Schwerpanzer HQ all by itself. Two satchel charges plus the barrage plus an Su-76 shot. That was enough. So I actually think next time you have the idea that it's time to destroy your opponent's Schwerpanzer HQ, just wait for the Su-76 and do it all in that wave, because I don't see the additional value of going in first. Now it's easy for me to say, oh hey, you know, this didn't look very efficient, and probably Desman was trying to destroy the Schwerpanzer HQ with the first attack, but it's awkward to try and do it with just 2 penal units, because there just literally isn't enough damage there. Like 2 demo charges, as we saw, will not destroy this structure. You need more. So I think Desman there just kind of messing up the execution a little bit. That first attack, it looked nice coming in, putting 2 satchel charges behind smoke onto the Schwerpanzer HQ, but actually just really was just giving your opponent 2 free satchel charges and a free smoke. So anyway, MD-34 here getting caught out. PPSHs take no prisoners at that range, and they're going to grab that one. So that's actually a nice pickup there for Desman, who desperately does need additional units in the roster. So actually, transposing a machine gun out of your opponent's roster into your army, just the kind of move that the Soviets player needs to make to stay in this game. So that is quite something. T-70 rolls up to the front. Kettenwerfer has it in the arc though. Here comes another Kettenwerfer. Wow, getting 2 misses. That T-70 getting very lucky. Kettenwerfer here just seemingly not interested in falling back, despite Penal Battalion being in the hood. You know what, actually, the Scout Sniper died at some point as well. I'm just such a good caster, I just love missing unit wipes. So yeah, didn't see where the Scout Sniper went down because I'm so great, but you know, whatever. So, okay, yeah, the MG34 is going to be really nice here for Desman. But this is a desperate situation. Panzer HQ has completed again, and Panzer Orth has completed again. And the Soviet player has rebought the T-70, and that's okay. But we're about to see an Axis proper armor choice come out. Ray here is going to go ahead and choose Grand Offensive Doctrine as well. So, actually, we're probably going to see a Tiger, and there's just no necessary ingredients for dealing with a Tiger present in this Allied roster whatsoever. No Zis guns, just one PTRS. PTRS squad, yeah, that's some... it's just not going to be enough, I think, here. So Ray... just navigating this game in, I think, quite a comfortable manner towards a very difficult, I would say insurmountable end game here, or late game, where they're just going to have Tiger with a Soviet player who basically has been behind the whole game ever since that clown car went down. And Ray just comfortably navigating this lead home at the moment. And even the desperate trade of all of those resources for the Schwerpanzer HQ just not actually likely to be enough to materially impact the outcome of this game. I appreciate Desman's efforts, and they've been very fun to watch. And certainly next time I'm playing with double penal, or even triple penal, I'm going to have to try and remember that, you know, you can use smoke and get up on top of your opponent's Schwerpanzer HQ and just demo charge that one down. And that's actually, that does look really nice. Anyway, T-70 here catches a Faust. So that's going to be problems here for the Soviet player. MG34 is now crewed and ready, coming on out. That is a pretty elite crewed one as well. That is a high unit cap MG34 with shock troops manning it. It's going to be a brave Axis squad that tries to get up on top of those boys. And now we're in the stage now where the Tiger tank is very close now, less than a minute until we're going to see that beast on the field. And there's no support armor core, so there's no recourse to Zis guns. And I just feel like unless Desman can somehow seize upon these Rakettenwerfers and grab them, I mean, how are you going to answer a Tiger tank here without these Rakettenwerfers? So I guess, I mean, the other actual nice thing is that actually Ray hasn't really shown off that he's gone for this commander yet. I mean, no Panzer Fusiliers, no smoke used, just none of these abilities have been used, which is actually quite clever, because the first confirmation that Desman will have that it's a Tiger tank, and you have to suspect because you've seen nothing else, but the first confirmation Desman will have will be right now, the engine note of that Tiger and it rumbling out fog of war here in just a second. Going to be sending ice into the veins of Desman here. And we may see an instant GG because this is just such an unprepared Soviet player for a big cat. Alright, Tiger tank here, just going to make its presence felt, going to smite down these penals, I believe. No, going to go for the MG. So what do we do? Alright, Desman declines to GG right now. That's a satchel charge. Nice. Alright, actually finds a satchel charge. Desperately trying to get a squad wipe on some Storm Pioneers here. That would have been very nice, but unable to pursue into the teeth of that flat cannon on the Panzer, on the Schwerpanzer HQ. And Ray here with a pretty bad map control right now, but will be able to push out and re-secure the midline of the map here momentarily. And in fact, as we've just seen now, doing that right now. And so what do you do? I mean, do you have the... Can you quickly build a support armor core? Because I think you're going to need one. No, we're going to go for a mechanized armor Campanier. I suppose we do almost have Su-85 money. Is there a timeline existing here? Is there a timeline up for grabs where Desman is able to survive the next couple of minutes to get an Su-85 and then somehow deal with this Tiger? I don't know. I don't know that that's going to be possible. But it is worth playing for. I actually think This might be a better line than just... Yeah, I think this is a better line than just going for support armor company and then trying to get like 3 Zis guns. Because that requires a lot more manpower, and that's going to be the limiting variable here, so... Alright, okay, so Su-85 money is 130, so alright. Actually, you know what, it's only going to be another sort of minute or 30 seconds worth of saving. And then the Su-85 will be on the queue, so we can expect to see an Su-85 here in about 2 minutes or so, depending on how things actually come together. So we're at 25 minutes now. I just... Yeah, okay, so I think there is definitely a timeline here where this Su-85 is able to control the Tiger and bring this game back to parity, or even into a place where Desman, there is still a hope of victory here. It's going to be tough. Undoubtedly Desman, the massive dog in this scenario, and has quite the ticket deficit here, so going to be under considerable pressure to maintain control over these victory points. Even a momentary lapse could be disastrous in that regard for the Soviet player. So, Su-85 comes onto the queue. This is a clever line. You know, making the right decisions here as Desman, and that's the first stage. You've got to make the right decisions in regards to your unit composition to have a hope in the game. Desman is at least getting that right. Tiger tanks are very difficult to deal with though, especially when they've got 2 Raketwerfers and a lot of very elite infantry on support. Mines here though, going to maim a few Axis squads and just sort of trouble the advance here of the Axis player. Ray, cleverly, knows that this is the crucial point to control. And in securing this one, as you can see, has cut off a large swathe of the Allied income, but that's actually sort of okay in a way, because really all we care about is getting this Su-85 out, and that one is now on the way. So additional fuel, whilst nice, not essential right now for the Soviet player, weirdly. Not often you can say that. There are additional mines here as well, so keep your eyes peeled for additional blasts. I believe actually there are no metal detectors in the Axis roster, so these mines are able to trouble and hinder the Axis advance. Tiger tank here just gibbs 4 shock troops there. Just shooting for value. Su-85 going to roll on out here. Bonk. There we go. Now the first meaningful response to this Tiger tank announces itself. And this is going to be a battle for time here for the Su-85. It just... Whoa! What are we doing? Oh my god, that aggressive rotation. Oh no, this is how we lose the Su-85. That's way too aggressive, mate. You can just sit back here and take shots. Use your focus sight. Jeez. Okay, that is some... I am not approving of that particular Su-85 micro. The only way, that if you're going to lose this game in the next minute, is by throwing the Su-85 out and having it killed, and he just immediately throws it right out into range of the Tiger, knowing that your opponent has Raketwerfers lurking somewhere. I mean, that was like 1 more Kettenwerfer away from just throwing the game right there. Use focus sight. Make use of your Su-85's strengths, which are its range and its penetration. Just keep it back. Keep clinking that Tiger back. You're not trying to kill the Tiger here. That's just not going to happen. You're just trying to control it and get veterancy onto your Su-85 to negate and minimize the impact and the influence that this Tiger tank is having on the game. And then set yourself up for a position later on where you have a 2-star or better Su-85 with better support, and you may well be able to cobble together a kill on that Tiger. But you ain't going to kill it now, mate. Not with this army. Damn. Not unless something goes very wrong for the Axis player. So anyway, T-70 coming in here, straight into the teeth of a lot of stuff. That will be dead then. What are we doing here? I'm not quite sure I understand these movements here for, oh dear, for the Soviet player. Wow, okay, I mean, we got the Su-85, but calm down, Desman. Let's just calm down. Alright, this is more like it. There we go. Now we can start taxing this Tiger. Just keep it in the sights of your Su-85. That's it. Every hit is a massive injection of veterancy into this Su-85. And Su-85s, as I say time and time again, there we go, getting these hits, lovely. Su-85s are an investment that flourishes over time. They need time to reach their full potential. Jesus Christ, they vet up fast when they're hitting Tiger tanks, though. Jesus. This is nearly 2 stars of veterancy. This thing has only taken about 5 shots. But this is it. Yep, this is how we do it. And now the Tiger tank has to pull back. One of the Kettenwerfers gets picked down. That's now available. Oh, he's creeping forward with the Su-85. We don't do this. No! Ah, this is how we lose the Su-85. Jesus Christ. He's really trying to kill the Tiger, and that is incorrect. We're just trying to... because now you get double Fausted. This thing is a second away from being recrewed. Oh, yikes. Oh, that was close. Jesus. Get out of there, son. Oh. Oh, unnecessarily raising my pulse here. Ah, damn. Damn, Desman. it's a very... The way to use Su-85s in situations like this is just in a very calm, very measured way. You have the range, you have the power. Make your opponents suffer, make them bleed, make them sweat, make it their problem. Alright, you don't need to make something happen. That's Su-85s are not initiators, they are not instigators. They can be, but not in this kind of dynamic. You are just looking to sap and tax and harry your foe. Just piss them off, keep draining that tiger. Alright, gonna come back out here with the Su-85 not quite fully repaired. Veterancy rank 2 is now here. 3 is where you get rate of fire. So that Su-85 already flourishing in a pretty significant way. And in fact, Desman actually kind of moving towards the place where he will have enough fuel for an additional fuel unit here. I actually think a T-34 in support would actually be quite nice. Whoa, we've got a Panther tank coming though. Damn. Alright, that's going to be problems. Okay, hang on though. Clears up this Rakettenwerfer. Oh, if we can steal this, that's going to be amazing. Oh yeah, this is exactly what Desman needs. Just a Kettenwerfer, because this means, okay, just even the presence of a single Kettenwerfer means that it's going to be much harder for this Panther to just flank unchallenged the Su-85. Now there's going to be a Kettenwerfer, hopefully, to cover the tank destroyer, to cover one of its flanks, and that will be useful. Very useful. A Katusha is actually going to be the next fuel unit. Sure. Why not? Katusha's are high variance, high risk units. So Desman here, rolling a lot of dice in this game. Okay, now you need to start falling back the Su-85, and he does. Nice kiting here. Getting lovely amounts of veterancy, so he sees the Panther. Now this is a lot of fire. Kettenwerfer set up here on the flank, and it all comes down to positioning. Su-85 in a lovely place, keeps taking shots, but it's going to run out of ablative infantry here. Fighting going on in the east. A superior Axis force is going to be pushing up. Lots of pressure coming in here for Desman. The Su-85 not retreating. Okay, now it is. He needs to just keep retreating this. And because this Su-85 is his life in this game, and he's taxing down the Axis cats. This is how we Su-85. Desman here, calm. Just collectively making it the Axis player's problem, meaning that the Axis player has to initiate in this circumstance. And that's what we like. Here comes a barrage. It's going to be Stuka's support. Smoke comes down, and the Su-85 has 3 stars of veterancy now. Katusha barrage comes down, finds the Obersoldaten, finds a Kettenwerfer. The Axis roster for the first time looking a little small in the top left there. Additional rockets coming in. The Su-85 still here, but that's not going to be enough to cover. Ah! Volksgrenadiers are going to get on the Kettenwerfer. Get the Su-85 out of there. Okay, he's going to get that one out of there. Yikes, I was getting a bit worried for him there. Alright, that Katusha getting a fine opening barrage. 7 kills. Negating it or destroying a squad of Obersoldaten and a Kettenwerfer squad. Okay, not destroying the hardware, but removing the veterancy on that squad. Not that there was really any to speak of, but still, that's always nice. So a fine opening barrage there for that Katusha. Hopefully he's going to be able to keep that one alive. And this Su-85 now is beginning to he was a little bit reckless with it in the early minutes of its life, and I was a bit critical, but this right here is a fine example of what Su-85s do to a game. They completely change the dynamic as far as Axis armor is concerned, and we're seeing that in this game. This one unit is being able to control both of these Axis tanks, has vetted up incredibly fast, because this is a target-rich environment for a tank hunter. You know, Tiger tank is a very expensive unit, which the Su-85 is very well positioned to impart large amounts of damage onto. That dynamic will naturally feed a lot of veterancy onto the Soviet tank hunter. So now at 3 stars, it has additional accuracy, it has additional penetration, it has additional rate of fire. Basically, it is hitting very much harder and faster now. So as long as this Su-85 stands, Desman's position in this game is probably okay. Now, it's a fragile unit, and he's going to rotate it. This is risk. He does rotate it there. And the reason it's risk is now to retreat. It's going to have to spend some time rotating, and these things are going to materially impact its chances of surviving in a battle. Katusha taking another barrage so soon, it seems. Going to negate this Kettenwerfer's crew. There are Soviet forces here who would be keen to acquire that. Be careful, lads. There's more rockets coming in. Careful. Katusha's just... Yep, they do just pour in a lot of rockets, mate. MG34 here, pouring out incendiary rounds. Obersoldaten get up into an advanced position. Where's the Axis armor right now? Okay, so the Panther had its engine busted. The Tiger now going to lumber forwards. And I feel like somehow Desman has actually navigated this into a relatively even-looking endgame. Whoa! The shock troop is having a last poke. He gets punished for it, though. That was ambitious, trying to get that Obersoldaten squad. He gets punished for it, loses the shock troops. What do we got here? There's a flamethrower down there. Whoa! What got lost there? Oh, I missed that. Alright, so now the Su-85 has the Tiger in its sights. The Panther actually still not repaired, so this Tiger is just going to lose this fight. Actually, Ray is compelled to not engage here. Soviet player at 187, so that's a notable number to bear in mind in this game, as it looks like we're going to get into a very grindy late game here. And Desman with enough fuel to take another fuel choice here. If they can just save up some manpower here, which I appreciate is difficult in this stage of the game, then we could see a T-34, which would be useful. What the f is this Su-85 doing out here? I look away for 2 seconds and he manages to rumble the Su-85 right out into the middle of the map. We're still on focus sight mode. We need to pack away that commander. Speed. Speed is what we need. Oh, God. Oh, dear. I mean, yep, okay, here comes the Panther. I mean, this is game ending now, because if the Panther gets on top of the Su-85, that's game ending. Wow, he's actually going to think better of it. You can be attack grounding as well. The micro on this Su-85, not really there right now. Katyusha barrage comes down, finds an MG. Oh, and a retreating squad of Volks, perhaps. I think we've got one more salvo coming in. Okay, it doesn't quite get those squads, but that's very close. This Katyusha has been very good. 16 kills, a Star Veteran suit on its third barrage there. Okay, so Soviet unit's going to fall back. Whoa, Volks Grenadiers. Jesus. I think Ray is actually playing a little bit desperate here. Can kind of feel the balance of power slipping away. Making some pretty bold dives here. Okay, now, I'm also going to say Desmond desperately needs more engineers. Soviet players really only thrive when they've got 2+ squads of engineers at this stage in the game. One squad certainly not enough. Su-85 here casting shells into this building. Obersoldaten doing their best for now to screen Soviet infantry away from the central VPs, because this is a game about VPs. Ray knows this. Ray needs to just control 2 of the VPs, hopefully 3. You know what, actually, all of Desmond's resources are pretty much invested around keeping the Su-85 in power in this position on the map. So you could try and sneak away, just sneak some Volks Grenadiers over here, just one squad, just like task them, like shift click them around the edge and then have them come in and grab this VP. That would actually be a possible move here, which I would like to see. Repairs are going to start coming down on the Su-85. Manpower is being saved, but the priorities are a desperate split right now. We need more engineers for Desman, but we also want to spend this fuel. So it's a tricky place to be. Tiger tank comes forward here, but gets repulsed by the lucky Kettenwerfers that Desman was able to steal. Up to 2 stolen Kettenwerfers is huge here for the Soviet player. Panther tank doing its best here, but you know, Su-85s are really good. He's not using focus sight at the times. Anyway, oh, Katyusha barrage comes in here. That will force the Axis infantry to evacuate that particular point. I think in a way, since you knew that the MG34 was here, you might have been better served putting the barrage here. For the reason being that as soon as the Axis player hears those Katyusha barrage shots, he's going to start falling back. So there's a good chance you get some of the Volks as they fall back through the MG. And the MG is going to be so slow to fall back that it's kind of guaranteed damage, or more guaranteed anyway, for the Katyusha. So just a small note there from me. It's going to be maybe put the Katyusha barrage on the MG there. But you know, in the heat of battle, these things are very hard to do. And of course, I'm sure the sharper-eyed among you have noticed, we've got a Yagdi on the queue. And that is going to be a very strong choice here for Ray. That's going to... So this is a unit that can bet up and start threatening the Su-85. Now, a 3-star Su-85 can deal with a Yagdi. Absolutely it can. But whether it can deal with a Yagdi that's being supported by a Panther and a Tiger is another matter. And Desman right now, just critically low on manpower, unable to spend the 260 fuel that he has saved up. Let's just quickly... Desman. Let's just take a look here. So, an Su-85 is 350 manpower. Okay. We've got a lot of fighting going on here. Volks Grenadiers are actually going to break through, overrunning. And if they can get a Faust onto this Su-85, that is almost game. Also the Katyusha has to give way. The Yagdi gonna push forward, and look, this is what tank destroyers do in a game. They just completely change the balance of power. Okay, now they're gonna start exchanging shots, which is a little bit dangerous. The Su-85 does have the better range and the better rate of fire. So this Yagdi will pursue at its own risk. And there's just not a lot here for the Soviet forces. Katyusha, thinking about taking a barrage, thinks better of it. Nope, does take the barrage. Gonna hit his own mines there. How are those mines not going off? Okay. Right, Desmond has actually saved up. I mean, another Su-85 would be totally viable here. In fact, I think another Su-85 almost closes the door on this Axis composition. Because it's going to be so hard to engage into two Su-85s with this. But, you know, the temptation is there to try and save up for the KV-2 as well. But I think that's a bit of a trap, if I'm honest. It costs more than nearly double the manpower. And it's just not as relevant in these fights. The gun has a much slower fire rate, and it's just not as good of a gun against vehicles. I mean, it's okay, but it's not an Su-85 when it comes to shooting against vehicles. So, yeah, I think you need to buy an Su-85 and a squad of engineers. That is the best way to spend these resources, what you have banked, Desman, in my honest opinion. Panther gets a lovely flank on the Su-85. Oh, gets punished though. Man, this infusion of Axis hardware has definitely kept Desmond in the game. The MG34 and then the two Kettenwerfers incrementally have just kept Desmond alive when Desmond was such a dog since the early stages of this game. And make no mistake, this is basically, I mean, he's still kind of the dog in terms of resources on the field right now, but these two armies are definitely sort of even, I would say. I mean, it's an awkward dynamic because as soon as this Su-85 goes down, the game ends. But here comes a KV-2. So additional armoured mites flowing out now for the Soviet player. Going to announce itself right here. Hello. I heard you like giant explosions. Have one. But I mean, I think this is a bit of a trap, this, because the KV-2 just kind of loses to a Tiger, and it certainly loses to a Tiger supported by a Yagdi, and it certainly loses to a Tiger supported by a Yagdi and a Panther. So, but it does tax the Axis infantry. Yikes! He's getting so lucky to keep these Volks alive. All right, he's going to cram in here. Uh-oh, if he just crams in a bit further. Oh my goodness me, the Katyusha. Yep, that'll go down. Yep. 3 stars now on this Tiger, and yeah, he's broken this position now substantially as the Axis player. So this is going to be a very difficult position to hang on to. The Su-85 here, though, just still the only look at the rate of fire on this beast. Okay, it didn't actually throw another shell out. Oh, here comes the Panther! Risky! What are we doing? What are we doing? Where are the Kettenwerfers? Okay, one of the Kettenwerfers finally gets into position. That is necessary here. Somebody's using Stick of Smoke, I believe it is. We need more engineers out here, Desman, so desperately. Also, we're repairing the KV-2, and the combat impact of this KV-2 right now is like a 2 out of 10 compared to the 10 out of 10 from being provided by that Su-85, and yet we're repairing the KV-2 because it's the most expensive unit. It's like, I get it, but the decision-making here is not on. Okay, that's a squad wipe. That's a really good squad wipe, actually. Oh, we're not getting it?! Okay, we do get it, jeez. 117 tickets. 117, the luckiest spot. Su-85, you're coming out with a pixel of health. I mean, really? Into Fog of War? Are we doing this? This is the only reason you're alive in this game. Are we really? He's so lucky that there's not a Panther just like lurking here or something. Jeez. Well, I guess he's not that lucky. There are mines. Please buy some engineers, Desman. Please. You need engineers. Okay, this is the uneasiest game. Oh! Yeah, I mean, the KV-2 does look good when your opponent just pokes in with some infantry. Oh, he's got it in siege mode. That's how come he's able to shoot so far. I still think that this would have been better as a squad of engineers and another Su-85. That way, imagine the dynamic if that's an Su-85 parked there and they're both being repaired by engineers. It's just like the Soviet player can then just be so much more pushy, get much more map presence, start putting the Axis player on the back foot, even threaten for a kill on one of these Axis tanks. As it is, this KV-2 is like, it's very flashy and very expensive, but not very effective. That's my diagnosis. Alright, Desmond, we've nearly got 200 manpower. Please, for the love of God, get some more engineers, please. Alright, here comes a Yagdi. Bear in mind when the Yagdi gets to 1 star, I believe, it gets the active camo ability. Yeah, that's so stupid. Wow, he's going to lose the Yagdi. That's kind of really bad. Wow, okay, but the gun was broken on the Su-85, so if there is a time to break this position, it is now for the Axis player. 4-star Tiger has to feel good as well. Kenworth is starting to pull back. Whoa. Smoke's sort of substantially saving the Soviet army here, I feel like. Not quite sure what Ray's doing putting that one down. KV-2 falling back. Su-85, yeah, that's game. Because as soon as this Su-85 dies, there we go. Alright, well won here by Ray. Oh, finally going to break the back of this. Whoa, what is he? That is some drift that he got onto that Tiger tank. What the was that movement? He was like sliding that thing like Tokyo Madness. Yeah, that's game. There ain't no way. Unless he just feeds in all of his tanks. What is this Panther doing? Wow. Crazy. I mean, that really ought to be game, right? I mean, because the Tiger tank can just kill all of this without any worries. Oh. Everything has frozen. That's weird. Normally when this happens, I get like an icon or something to say that... That is so strange. What is going on? I mean, the game time has stopped. I'm unable to fast forward. So, I mean, I can only assume that someone has GG'd, and it has to be the Soviet player. So, it's just normally the game actually ends, and I get like a skull, and the sound stopped grumbling. Like, you can still hear the engines grumbling and things. Anyway, okay, well... Wow, 45 minutes, 49 seconds. A fantastic win there for Ray, who... Desmond played his heart out there and really did really well. But honestly, I mean, there were some mistakes made in the early and mid game. Yeah, the clown car didn't pay off. Like, lots of things happened. But assuming that's how the game opens, then the Su-85 was such a stabilizing impact on the game. And despite a couple of wobbles with it on its way to 3 stars, Desmond really microing that unit quite well on the whole, doing fine with it. And, you know, substantially able to stabilize. And just that one unit, that Su-85, just, you all saw it. It just changed the dynamic of this game. It makes the game the Axis player's problem. It makes the Tiger tank not that great. It controls all of the Axis armor, and it makes it so much less efficient. And it did all those things. But because of that, it was able to bring a game where the Soviet player was quite far behind to parity. And that's amazing. That's the power of tank destroyers in this game. And I really feel like the KV-2 was a trap. I mean, what does a KV-2 do substantially when your main problems are a Tiger tank, a Panther tank, and a Jagdpanzer? Right, what does the KV-2 do substantially against those problems? Not that much. Whereas for a fraction of the cost, you can get another Su-85, which would have been terrifying, I think, for the Axis player, and that vital second squad of engineers you needed to, you know, make it so that your units actually had some health to be fighting with. So, yeah, I know I said it. Yeah, I have caster omnipresent vision, and some of you may be detecting a note of frustration in my voice, but that's only because I feel like Desmond correctly recognised the power of the Su-85, only to then promptly forget about it and click on the sort of shiny, trappy, expensive, flashy woo unit, the KV-2. And I'm not saying the KV-2 is a bad unit. There are circumstances in which you should definitely be building KV-2s and not Su-85s. But the point in this game where he did build the KV-2, I do not think was one of those. Yeah, the KV-2 is a brilliant unit, incredibly powerful, utterly devastating, one of my favourite units to see in the game. I love it. Just not under the circumstances we just witnessed, for the reasons I said. So, and Ray, a fantastic masterclass of, well, cool-headedness, I have to say, in the face of Su-85. I think there were a couple of moments where Ray could have been pushier and got the Su-85 a little bit earlier. There were a couple of questionable smokes in this position as well that I feel like over the game were probably helping the Soviets more than the Axis. And there were a couple of moments where I feel like flanking with infantry to here, or flanking with a tank to try and find the Su-85 here, could have yielded dividends. Now I appreciate that there are mines out here, but if you never try it, you never know, and you could always get a metal detector and actually send some support for that tank that's... Whoa! Okay. I'm sorry, what? This game isn't over.
We have loads of enemy to 75 points.
Okay, this just in. Play continues. What? Okay, well, that is the first time in many hours of casting this game that I've ever seen that happen. That was like a several minute long jam up. What the hell happened there? Okay, but the two players are continuing to play. 68 tickets remaining for the Soviet player, who has no units and a KV2. So I am actually just going to fast forward, because I just don't see how this is... Yep, and he GG's. There we go. Okay. Alright, well, there we go. I think, you know, fundamentally we had reached the end of the game, just not materially. But now we have materially reached the end of the game, so that is great. Yeah, I think Ray here, also a couple of mistakes in the early game as well, because Ray had a fantastic lead, a shocking advantage through the early stages of these games, actually. But actually able to help Desman out by gifting him an MG34 when that was a very important unit to have, and also just no other way of accessing machine guns for Desman, which would have been a fantastically useful tool. So, you know, that was a key thing that you probably had to not let happen for Ray, was to donate an MG34, and that did end up happening. And then later on, same story with the Kettenwerfers. Yeah, just fantastically powerful units when under Soviet hands, because they then have a 6-man squad which can fall back. And without the Kettenwerfers, would that Su-85 have been able to stand for so long? I doubt it. I really doubt it. So, I mean, obviously, there was no point where Ray was just like, you know what, I'm going to give these Kettenwerfers to my Soviet opponent. That's not what happened. You know, you never do that on purpose. But I think you have to be especially mindful of the fact that they're very good units for you to have, but there are particular times, there are certain situations and moments in games where those units could be so much more valuable to your opponent that you just have to be a little bit more careful with them. You just have to identify, you have to sort of notice to yourself, hey, if my opponent actually grabs these Rakettenwerfers, I'm in so much of a worse place, so I'm actually just going to put them back a little further than I might, or have them lurking only with like a heavy amount of support, or just take certain extra measures just to ensure that even if it slightly reduces the effectiveness of having those units for yourself, that it basically means that it's impossible for your opponent to get your hands on them, because they would basically unlock so much extra potential in your opponent's composition. Again, these are very easy things to notice when you have Fog of War turned off and you're a caster watching down upon everything and not playing the game in real time, having to process and do a million tasks in real time. You know, it's completely different. You know, I'm not like looking at these players and going, ha, these idiots, he gave him his Kettenwerfers. It's like, no, of course that's not how it happened. But I would say, we can see how important those Kettenwerfers were and how much more value they provided in the Allied roster than they were providing in the Axis roster. And they're, I would say, at the highest level of play, if you want to be, if you're genuinely into developing and making yourself the best possible player, then I'm saying that there is definitely a skill you can develop where you have to recognize, these units could be transferred to my opponent's roster, and I honestly think that this game is basically over as long as that doesn't happen, so I'm just going to make sure that that doesn't happen. Even if those Rakettenwerfers are being less good as Rakettenwerfers in my army, my actual job with these Rakettenwerfers is now just to make sure my opponent doesn't get them, because that's pretty much the only way they're coming back in this game. You know, there are times when that's the thing. Pretty much every early game with Vermax, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, this MG42 is amazing, but if I actually give it to my opponent, I'm probably dead. Like, that's how, certainly on maps like Crossroads, certainly against USF, if you have an MG42 and you give it to your opponent any time before the 5 or 10 minute mark in the game, you are probably on like a 15% or less to win with Vermax from that point on. It's like, it's just very impossible. Like, I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, or maybe I've just gotten it wrong, but that can be the case sometimes. Anyway, I'm sort of going off on a tangent. This has been a very interesting game to have cast. I'm really glad we caught it. A fine showcase of two players making some very interesting decisions for us to unpack there. Really exciting. Thanks very much for watching. This for now will be Magpie 842 signing out.